Now, as the fibers fray, another thing we have to worry about is delamination. We'll talk about that in a bit. Level 2, this is SCI. Level 2, what they're saying here is damage may be cuts, abrasions, or gouges that are deeper or longer than those allowable. Damage may include broken fibers. Degrees of damage may be repairable. Notice they say may be. And each manufacturer has different standards as far as things go. And level 3 here, condemn. You can't repair it. And it has to do with different areas. Now, what they're saying here is the maximum allowable depth defect shall be reduced by 1/3 for these areas here, the radiuses. So they said 10 thousandths, right? So now we gotta, in these areas, if it's damaged on the radius, that reduces our damage by 1/3. So we don't want, for round numbers, we don't want damage more than 6 thousandths of an inch. Anything under 6 or 7 thousandths on the radius, we're still okay. If we said 36 thousandths, we'll say 30, nice numbers. If we say 30 thousandths is the maximum depth on the radius, now we can only be 20 thousandths of an inch, can't we? So we need to pay attention to that area. And cylinders that have been condemned, you've got to destroy them. The way you destroy them is, we'll take this one here back up, is you have to purge all the gas out of the cylinder, because even though the cylinder is empty, you still can have gas in it. All right? So even though the cylinder is empty, you still have gas in it, which is still combustible. So what you do is you purge the cylinder using an inert gas. You got to get all the gas out. Or if you don't have argon gas or something, then you can use water. Don't blow it out with compressed air. Because think about this. Remember I said the flammability? You had to have so much air, so much gas. Well, if you drain the cylinder and you still have the valve in there, you don't have any air in the cylinder. All you have is gas in the cylinder, right? All you have is methane gas. It's too rich. If you were to put a match inside the cylinder, which you couldn't, but if you could, there's no air, you're not going to support flame. But if you take the neck off and blow air in there, now you've got residual gas and you've just added plenty of air. So now any sort of a spark, it'll burn. And where do you get sparks? As you're drilling, you're creating heat, right? You guys know the 3 things it takes to make a fire? Heat, fuel, and oxygen, or air as you want to call it. So in a fire, we got the triangle always, the fire triangle. We have heat, fuel, air. You have to have all 3. All you got to do is take one away, and you don't have a fire. If I've got, take the air away, I can have fuel and heat. Take the heat away, I can have air and fuel, air and heat. But you got to have all 3 to create a fire. All right? That's where we stand. So, think about this. When your engine's running, what are you doing? You're sucking in air and fuel, you're compressing it, and the spark is heat. That's what causes it to burn. On a diesel, why do we have high compression? Because as we squeeze the air, we create not only air, but heat. And then we spray in fuel, we have a fire. So that's where we're at. So what we need to do is don't blow them out with compressed air. Either fill it with an inert gas, something that doesn't burn, or you can fill it with water, because water takes the place of the gases. Purged cylinders may contain enough residual natural gas to cause an explosion hazard. Then you need to drill 2 holes, half-inch holes or bigger, into the tank if you're condemning it. All right? That way nobody can fill these tanks up and reuse them. So you got to drill 2 half-inch holes in them. Now, common sense. After you drill the holes, half-inch or larger through the cylinder sidewall, align it with the label. In other words, put it in the label area because we want it where nobody is going to fill it, but nobody's going to fill it, but at the same point, it's identified as being condemned. That's what this is, the hazard of it. Up a bit. Then, after you do that, dispose of the cylinder. But what you have to do is you have to write on the tank, and write in big letters, condemned. Right where everybody can see it. I usually use yellow spray paint, white spray paint, something like that. Make sure you write on the side condemned. Because if you go to the storeroom and you get a tank, a cylinder, or you go out in the yard as these were laying out in the yard, the last thing you want to do is grab one, put it in the bus. It's got a couple of half-inch holes drilled in it. You didn't see them, and pressurize it. Because at that point, it's going to pop. All right? So that's huge. Drill your holes in the tank to condemn it. And when you condemn it, identify it. Drill the holes by the label and identify the tank. Write in big letters. Make it easily identified that it's damaged. All right?